Hello, everyone. My name is Jacob Fortin. I'm the host of this podcast, Doers Within Emerging Markets. And I just want to share my experience with using Anchor so far. When the pandemic started, I thought about starting a podcast, and the whole idea was to bring in some really amazing folks that are doing some great work in their respective industries within the emerging markets. And the Anchor platform really helped me get the word out there and also just make it a lot easier for me to invite the guest and just share the amazing experiences they've had and the amazing work they're doing in their respective industries within the emerging markets. So it's pretty fun. You don't even worry about the technical part of making a podcast. You actually just focus more on the content. And Anchor has done it really well for me. So I will highly encourage anybody who is trying to start a podcast to try to use. Just check out Anchor, and I think you won't regret it. I'm not a technical person, but if you listen to these episodes that I've been publishing so far, it seems like I know what the technical part of it, but Anchor helps you take care of the technical part, and you just focus on the content. So feel free to check it out. I highly encourage. You won't regret it, and it's right there. You don't pay anything. So in times like this, I think starting a podcast and getting the word out there, irrespective of what you're doing, will be a really great experience. So thank you guys for listening to my episodes. Please check out Anchor, and you will have a great time. So cheers, guys, and see you guys next episode. Thanks. No, yeah, that's very interesting, and I kind of I think just my very mini trip in Asia. I think Vietnam had this very, because I did a program. I think I mentioned this offline to you at I hope I mentioned the right school, Foreign Trade University. I think that's it.
Yeah.
But I saw even the project we worked on. We had I didn't work on this. Some of the students worked on it, but there was this Vietnam Post that collaborated with us to help these students come up with ideas to make Vietnam Post much more innovative. And I kind of saw that vibe of the resistance of the students specifically had this entrepreneurial mindset, right? So that was very inspiring, So I think you're right. I think Vietnam has this unique. It's a unique country. It had some unique stuff, and they have really good food. So
yes, that's true.
So now talking about so by the way, thanks for sharing. I think what you shared is very important. I hope our listeners I'm very confident our listeners really get a lot out of what you just mentioned, especially
that's nice.
the food. So just now getting to some fun stuff about Vietnam and your time in Vietnam. So these are just some fun questions. So
okay.
What is the best entrepreneurial? I'll start with the most boring one. What's the best entrepreneurial event you have attended in Vietnam?
Oh, that's a good one. Well, to be fair, ever since I moved here, it's just been COVID outbreaks left and right. So unfortunately, I have not been able to attend a lot of entrepreneurial events yet. But I have been to a few webinars in the relating to the startup scene in Vietnam, and that has been quite interesting because mostly it was in Vietnamese, so it was a little bit hard for me to work around that.
Yes.
But yeah, unfortunately, right now I can't tell you yet.
That is fair. That's a fair question. I think maybe in a year from now we'll be able to get the answer.
Hopefully.
What has been for sure? I think you'll probably but hopefully by the end of this year we'll get things to open up.
Right.
Based on your travels in Vietnam, what would you recommend as the best place for people to visit in Vietnam?
Oh, right. I think it really depends on what you're into. I think Vietnam is so diverse. You have super mountain areas with beautiful scenery. You have the beach, you have the city life. So it really depends on what you're looking for. Phu Quoc is really nice. It's an island in the south. That's really, really nice. I have yet been to Sapa, but I heard it's really beautiful in the mountainous areas. Um, so I still have a lot of exploring to do.
Okay.
Unfortunately, this year has not been the best time for that. But yeah.
That's cool. So what's the island called again? It's called
Phuoc.
Phuoc.
Yes.
Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Next, I think it's a fun question. What's the best food you've had so far in Vietnam, or you recommend for others to have?
The best food. Well, I am a big fan of pho. It's just like, for me, it's like the best, most comforting
comfort food,
Vietnamese dish. Yeah, it's like noodles, like a broth with broth.
Yeah. And
I love it. I will never get sick of that dish. I can literally eat that every day. So I would say that for sure. And yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, I think it's also a comfort food here in the US. For me, at least, it's great. For it's great. Okay, now going back to entrepreneurship. What is, as a female entrepreneur and someone that is leading a company at a very young age, what is the advice you give to young aspiring female entrepreneurs, or even not so young female leaders on how to be a leader? I know that's a very broad question, but just give it a shot.
This is a question that I feel very passionate about, because I think being a young female, a leader in the entrepreneurial world, I do feel like I face a lot more challenges, in the sense where, and I think also because I had a business background, but I'm working in tech, so I understand that a lot of times people might have a prejudgment of me and what I know. And I think it's always important for young female entrepreneurs to know that no matter what, what's most important is that you put your best trait forward, you put your best performance forward always. It doesn't matter with what kind of judgment you're facing or things like that. I've attended meetings in which my business partners did not even regard me or look at me, and instead just focused on my counterpart, who was male. So I mean, I think that's pretty normal, but I think it's just working through that, no matter what, regardless, not letting that affect me. And if you put in the good results and the outcome, people will respect you naturally, and that sometimes we have to earn it a little bit harder. But that's not to say it's a bad thing, because I found that I have been consistently pushing and driving myself to work even harder, just to be on that same level of recognition with maybe some of my counterparts in the field. And it's not always bad, I would say. So I think it's definitely something that we have to be a little bit more resilient in working through, and hopefully that changes eventually in the course of time. But yeah, I would say that would be my best advice. Just ignore what people think of you and just deliver the results that you're satisfied with, and the respect will come naturally.
I completely agree. I think your work should speak for itself. At the same time, all the men out there too should also be willing to learn, to listen, and also appreciate the work beyond anything else, right? So as women put in the best work, which from my experience, I always do, I think the men should also change their perception of what is important and focus on what is that is a matter of work and not just anything else. So thanks for sharing that. I know this episode will definitely inspire some many young people out there too.
I would hope so. Yes.
No, they definitely will. Definitely, 100%. 100%. So kind of we're wrapping up here, and I wanted to get your take. And I think before I kind of come to conclusion, which you have been doing great, by the way, as your first
Thank you.
First podcast episode.
Thank you.
how do you think in general, like, are there a lot of foreign investors? Because we talked about entrepreneurs, right?
Mm-hmm.
How is FDI, foreign direct investment, in Vietnam? Do you think does it have a huge role to play in how companies get funding, or do you think it comes mostly from the government, or do you think is so, like, what's your take on that? Is it mostly private investment? Is it government funding, or is it a hybrid? Is a hybrid of both of them?
Well, I mean, for sure, there's a lot of foreign investment in Vietnam. I think just even through how we kind of met, that event that I was a part of, that's a South Korean funded and organized project. So we see a lot of Japanese, Korean, American investors in Vietnam, and I think that is also what's really putting the Vietnamese economy in hyperdrive. So it's really the place to be right now. It's booming. It's basically, I would kind of see it like China back in the early 2000s. And I would say with the government initiative in driving the startup scene, I would say still, I think because of Vietnam's nature of their economy, and that this is just my perception, I think a lot of it is still very much focused on corporates. So like the Vingroup, VinFast, so it's kind of like a monopoly, kind of like in China. But I would say there's a lot of foreign investment in Vietnam, and relative to the local governmental initiative, personally, I would say the foreign investment just makes a more significant impact, I would say.
That makes sense. Yeah, I think and as mentioned earlier too, I think from my own experience there too, I kind of got a sense of, like, because I came with the support of a Korean professor who invited me over to Vietnam. So I came through a Korean mentor and a friend. So that speaks, kind of goes along what you said. By the way, I want to give a shout out to V8os, because without them we couldn't have met. So they're great. They're fascinating team, and thank you guys if you guys listen to this. So just a few more questions, and it would be great to get your take on this. What has been the best advice you've ever received?
Oh, okay. This is a good one. I would say the best advice I've ever gotten that I can think of right now is from one of my best friends, May. And I don't know if you are aware or if you have encountered these feelings before, but I think imposter syndrome is something I deal with a lot, especially in my workplace. So, I'm always pushing myself to do the most, and, pushing myself in the hardest way possible. But still, I face a lot of self-doubt. And actually, my best friend told me this, and I think it's very important. It's that no matter what you think of yourself, as long as you're being consistent, you will keep moving forward. And I think that's a really good advice, because I think even in days where I'm facing a lot of self-doubt, or I'm not sure if I'm performing to the level that I expect out of myself, as long as I'm consistent and always doing the work no matter what, and just not stopping, it's okay to progress a little slower, or have a little bit of a roadblock, but just always keep moving forward, I think.
Yeah, that's great advice. I need to say hi to your friend for giving the advice. Very completely agree with that. I had that's an A++, a great meaningful advice. So on the other side, what has been the worst advice you've ever received?
The worst advice? That's a good one, because I usually don't remember that. I would say the worst advice I've ever gotten.
Oh, that's funny.
None stands out at the moment because I usually just forget about the bad advice that I get. Yeah.
Oh man, I think I mean just one. I think one that came to mind for me was that you should, you know, that for personally, one thing that I think it was not great advice is they said, you know, one person told me that, you know, stick to what you're good at.
Right.
And you know, and I think, you know, what I felt at that time, because you know, you learn about yourself as you progressively get older.
Right.
But I think sometimes the way you frame what you're good at is not the right framing. So you might continue doing something that you're not good at, like you think you're good at, but you're not good at, right? So I think, you know, I felt that advice was not the best advice because you might not. You have to first of all take a step back and frame who are you, right? And through that you'll be able to find out what you're good at. So I just want to share that in place that when you're thinking about it, maybe you can share your words advice in the next episode. But that was a great answer. You don't.
I'll think about it. You
don't remember. Okay. Last two questions. So, what is one thing that you want people to know about Techvico? Like, if there's something that, you know, people say, I just want to know one thing that Techvico can really do for the world or for Vietnam. What is the one thing that you love to hear people?
If you mean in one word, condense it in one word.
Yeah.
Right. I would say we are effective. If we had to put that, because I feel like a lot of tech companies are focusing to do what's best or do what's new or do what's state of the art. That a lot of the times people forget what the true purpose of technology is. It's to transform lives. It's to make our lives better and easier. And it's very easy to get lost in that chasing for the best quality. But for example, like in our landscape, we don't need the best quality. We need something that's effective, something that's affordable, something that people can use every day. So yes, I think what we do is we really adapt to our surroundings, our landscape, and we're really tuning our product to fit the needs. So we're focusing on that, being effective and not trying to do too much. And that's not to say that we're not delivering quality.
For sure.
Yeah, that's what I would say. Yeah.
No, that's great. That's a great answer. That's a great answer. Effective counts, and I think that speaks to, you know, being a good leader like you. That's well. So the last question I would love. And I've been asking this to previous guests, my last guest. What is the legacy you want to leave behind? And I know you're very young; you have many years ahead of you. But what is the legacy? What do you want people to remember your work and who you are as a person? And I asked this question just a background. You know, Jeff Bezos said something that, if you really want to create an impact in the world, you have to think of yourself as when you're 80 years old and look backwards. And at that age, you don't want to have regrets. You want to know that you did the best you could. You took all the opportunities you had. And if you think of yourself as an 80-year-old person and the legacy you want to leave behind, then you have a good roadmap. You chart out a good roadmap backwards and start making decisions, even at your 20s or your 30s, such that by the time you're 80, you have that 80-year-old life that you're fulfilled about. So, what's your take on that, and how do you want to be remembered?
Right. This is an interesting question. I've never thought of it. My legacy, and I think I really have to dig deep. But I would say, like, if I wanted to be remembered for something, anything at all, I think I would want to be inspiring, for sure. I mean, I think I I feel like I'm very unique in many ways in my career, just the way I interact with my team, the way I my vision and things like that, and no matter, sometimes I kind of wonder if this is the right way to do things, but I want to just stay true to myself. Being having integrity, being honest, and always listening to others and being a nice boss, because I feel like it's almost like, some people, it's hard sometimes to run a company and still be nice, I feel. That's how I feel. So I want to inspire people, as in, like, you can be the change you want to see. As in, we don't always have to conform to what society tells you to do or be. For it can start from anything, even AI. Like, be innovative, be different, be true to yourself, and hopefully you can inspire someone.
Yeah, wow.
Do that as well. Yeah.
It sounds like you have thought about the question. That was really good.
Really? No, I literally just thought of that. But
no, that's
I
would
say so. Yeah.
That was great. That was great.
No, I've been rehearsing this all my life.
It actually was good. I was like, wow, that was really good. I really want to thank you for being here.
No, thank you. Yeah, this was great.
Yeah, this was amazing. And we respect your last question, as I think your legacy has already been set out. You have done most of the work.
Thank you.
So I say true to that, because you're already leading the way, and just if you stay on that track, you definitely have a career, a reputation, and a life that is worth in the history books. And I feel humbled.
I hope so.
Oh, for sure, right. for sure. I'm certain the people interviewing this podcast are change makers, so you're one of them. You get
awesome.
on the list.
I'm honored. I'm really honored. Thank you for this opportunity.
For sure, certainly. So thanks to everyone who listened to this episode, and it's such an honor to have Chia here. And you can also put in the links of her LinkedIn profile, and as well as her company, so you can check that out. And also an article. I think you have a very amazing article.
Oh yes, wow.
Yeah, thank you. So I'll put that in the podcast link. The video of this podcast is also going to be on my YouTube channel, and you can also check that out. So thank you guys for listening, and Chia, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Jacob. It was great. I had a really great chat.
Awesome. So okay, see you guys in the next episode. Bye for now. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I'm really excited for Chia Chou. She's doing incredible work in Vietnam. You can check her out on LinkedIn, and the article that I added on the description. Please check out part 1 as well. We have some really exciting stuff we talked about, and and it's just pretty cool. She's doing some great stuff in Hanoi, and we also want to use this episode as a way to inspire young women to get into tech-based startups, to start tech companies anywhere around the world. And we are excited that that's going to be the future. So I commend Chia for her extraordinary work, and I'm looking forward to seeing you guys in the next episode. Let's check out the other entrepreneurs we have on the podcast. And thank you so much for listening the whole episode. Thank you so much, and see you in the next episode. Take care.